What if one simple daily habit could sharpen your memory, clear the mental fog, and make your mind feel alive again? Have you ever had this happen to you? A word sits right on the tip of your tongue, but no matter how hard you reach for it, it won't come out. Or someone tells you their name and it's gone 30 seconds later. Or maybe this one, you walk into a room in your own home, stop in the doorway, and your mind goes completely blank. You have no idea why you're standing there. These little mental hiccups can be unsettling, and over time they plant a quiet, nagging question. If that question has crossed your mind, I want you to know two things. First, you are far from alone. Second, and more importantly, this is not something you simply have to accept. Most people assume memory fades with age and that nothing can be done about it. I'm here to tell you that's not the full story. What if there were a 60-second routine grounded in real brain science that could help wake your memory back up starting today? Stay with me. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it and the fascinating reason it works. I'm Dr. William Lee, and for years my work as a neurologist has centered on one question. How does the aging brain hold on to itself, and how can we help it? I've sat across from hundreds of patients wrestling with this exact worry. Men and women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. People who have lived rich, full lives, and who suddenly feel their own mind starting to slip away from them. They describe the fog, the trouble concentrating, the extra effort it now takes to pull up information that used to arrive instantly. And in their eyes, I don't just see frustration. I see fear of losing independence, of becoming a burden, of watching a lifetime of memories quietly dissolve. My goal is to replace that fear with something more useful, knowledge, and a tool you can actually use. Because modern neuroscience has confirmed something remarkable, the brain retains the ability to change, adapt, and repair itself at almost any age. Scientists call this, think of your brain less like a machine that simply wears down, and more like a garden. Ignore it, and weeds take over. But tend it, water it, feed it, and it can bloom again, no matter how many seasons have passed. What I'm about to share with you is a form of brain gardening. No pills, no equipment, no gym membership. Just 60 seconds, done from a chair, that you can start today. Let's talk about one of the most damaging ideas out there. The belief that memory loss is simply an inevitable part of getting older. We hear it in jokes, in movies, in offhand comments, until we start to believe it ourselves. We misplace our keys and immediately think that belief is quietly toxic, not just because it's inaccurate, but because of what it leads to: resignation. If we assume nothing can be done, we stop trying. We stop challenging our minds. And without meaning to, we speed up the very decline we're afraid of. We give up before we've even started. But the science tells a different story. I've spent time studying what researchers call superagers, people in their 80s, 90s, even past 100, with minds as sharp as someone decades younger. Their secret isn't luck, and it isn't genetics. It's a lifestyle that keeps the brain engaged and nourished. Whether they realized it or not, they've been practicing neuroplasticity their whole lives. They've been tending their own brain garden. Neuroplasticity is simply your brain's ability to build and reorganize its own connections. Picture the pathways in your brain like trails through a forest. Learn something new, and you carve a trail. Repeat it, and that trail widens into a path. Keep using it, and eventually it becomes a highway. Stop using it, and it slowly grows over. Here's the encouraging part. This ability doesn't vanish with age. It's still there, waiting to be used. Even if some of your old trails have grown faint, you still have the power to cut new ones. Before I show you the exercise itself, let me tell you about a patient of mine. I'll call him Walter. Walter came to see me at 79, brought in by his son, who was clearly worried. Walter had spent his career as a woodworking teacher, a man who'd used his hands and his mind to build beautiful, exact things. but lately his mind had started to feel unreliable. "Doctor," his son told me, "my dad is fading. He used to be the one cracking jokes at every family dinner. Now he'll stop mid-sentence because he's lost his own thought. Last week, he couldn't remember his youngest granddaughter's name. Right in front of her, I watched her face fall. It broke my heart." Walter finally looked up at me and said the phrase I've heard more times than I can count. "It's just age, doctor. My mind isn't what it used to be." But underneath that resignation, I could see something else. Frustration and a flicker of fight still left in him. He told me he spent most of his days in front of the television. He'd given up on reading because he couldn't hold on to the thread of a story anymore. His world had quietly gotten smaller, so I made him an offer. "Walter," I said, "I'm not asking you to believe in miracles. I'm asking you for 1 minute a day. I'm going to teach you an exercise that might feel a little silly at first. Just promise me you'll do it every day for 4 weeks." He gave me a skeptical look. 1 minute, and I'll remember my granddaughter's name? "Maybe," I told him. "Your brain is a lot like a muscle. Leave it unused, and it weakens. Work it, and it gets stronger. This is basically a push-up for your brain. What have you got to lose?" Reluctantly, he agreed. I taught him the same routine I'm about to teach you. 4 weeks later, Walter walked back into my office a different man. Straighter posture, a firm handshake, eyes that met mine directly. His son spoke first, his voice catching. "Doctor, it's incredible. Last week my daughter asked her grandfather about a birdhouse he built years ago. And he didn't just remember it, he told the whole story. The type of wood he chose, why he picked it, even the name of the dog we had back then. I haven't heard him talk like that in years." Walter just smiled. "I felt a little foolish doing those arm movements at first," he admitted. "But I kept at it. After a week, I felt sharper in the mornings. After 2 weeks, I could actually follow the evening news without losing the thread. And then, out of nowhere, the name of an old shop friend I hadn't thought of in 30 years just came back to me. Like a window I thought was painted shut suddenly swung open. I want to be honest with you, Walter's turnaround was a strong result, and not everyone will experience change quite that dramatic. But his story is a real, genuine example of neuroplasticity doing exactly what it's built to do. What struck me most about Walter wasn't the exercise itself, it was the shift in how he talked about himself. In our first appointment, nearly every sentence started with some version of, "I can't anymore." By our final visit, he'd started saying, "I've been trying," and "I noticed something." That shift in language matters more than people give it credit for. The words we use about our own minds shape how hard we're willing to keep trying, and how much attention we're willing to give ourselves in the first place. Walter didn't just get a sharper memory back, he got his willingness to keep fighting for it back too. I've seen some version of that same shift in dozens of patients since. Not everyone tells a story as vivid as Walter's granddaughter and the birdhouse. Some notice something far quieter. They finally finish a crossword clue that used to stump them for days, or they walk into the kitchen and actually remember why they went in there. Small wins. But small wins, repeated daily, are exactly how neuroplasticity operates in real life. It rarely arrives as a lightning bolt. It arrives as a slow accumulation of slightly easier days, stacked one on top of another, until, one afternoon, you notice the fog has thinned without you quite realizing when it happened. Now it's your turn to learn the exercise. All you need is a chair and 1 uninterrupted minute. The goal here isn't strength, it's focus. We'll split the minute into 2 30-second halves. Sit toward the edge of your chair, spine tall but relaxed, feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart, hands resting on your thighs. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in slowly through your nose and let it out through your mouth, releasing any tension you're holding. Now open your eyes. This half has one job. Get oxygen-rich blood moving to your brain and switch on the coordination centers. With your hands resting on your thighs, slowly lift your right arm forward until it's level with the floor, keeping your left arm still. As you lift, breathe in through your nose over a slow count of 4. Then lower the arm back down, breathing out through your mouth over another count of 4. Now switch. Lift your left arm as you inhale, lower it as you exhale. Keep alternating, arm by arm, breath by breath, without pausing. No rushing. Slow and steady is the whole point. This rhythmic movement paired with deep breathing calms your nervous system, boosts oxygen delivery to your brain, and loosens tension in your neck and shoulders, literally clearing the road that blood travels on its way to your brain. The coordination piece primes your brain for what comes next. This is where neuroplasticity really kicks in. Keep doing the exact same arm and breath movement, but now you're going to layer a mental task on top. Doing both at once forces different regions of your brain to talk to each other, which is exactly how new connections get built. Pick a simple category. Let's use fruits. As you raise your right arm and inhale, say a fruit out loud, apple. As you lower it and exhale, think of the next one. Raise your left arm, inhale, say, banana. Keep going, orange, pear, grape, strawberry. Whatever comes to mind, for the full 30 seconds. If your mind goes blank for a second, that's completely normal. Just breathe and wait for the next word. This isn't a memory test with a score. It's about keeping your brain in active search mode while your body stays in motion. Seconds 0, 30. Sit tall, arms alternating slowly, breath synchronized, no talking, just movement and breath. Seconds 31, 60. Keep the same movement going and start naming items in your category out loud until the minute is done. That's it. 1 minute that can start to shift your relationship with your own mind. When you ask your brain to run a physical task and a mental task at the same time, you're forcing communication between regions that don't always talk to each other much. The frontal lobe, which handles attention and word finding, the cerebellum, which handles coordination, and the temporal lobe, which stores memory. It's a bit like asking an orchestra to play 2 melodies simultaneously. To pull it off, the musicians have to find new harmonies. That's neuroplasticity happening in real time. Your brain adapts fast. If you repeat the exact same version of this exercise forever, it gets easier and less useful. So here's how to keep it challenging. Stick with simple, concrete categories. Fruits one day, animals the next, then furniture, clothing, and so on. Switch to a letter instead of a category. Pick a letter and name anything that starts with it. For the letter B, maybe bread, ball, bicycle, door. Wait, that one doesn't count. This forces your brain to search for words in a different, harder way. Try counting backward instead of naming words, from 100 subtracting 3 each time. 100, 97, 94, and so on. If you lose the thread, just breathe and pick back up from the last number you remember. Get creative, combine tasks, name cities around the world, or names of people you know that start with a certain letter. The rule of thumb is simple. If it starts to feel too easy, it's time to make it harder. You want to feel a slight effort. That effort is the sign your brain is actually working. This is the most common one. Moving too fast and breathing shallowly defeats the purpose. It creates stress, and stress is genuinely bad for memory formation. Slower is better. Calm is the goal. Doing it faithfully for 3 days and then forgetting about it for a week won't get you anywhere. Your brain needs repetition, the same way a plant needs regular watering, not one big soak a month. A good trick, attach it to something you already do every day, right before your morning coffee, right after you brush your teeth. Don't do this with the television on or while chatting with someone. That 1 minute is an appointment with your own brain. Your attention is the tool that carves these new pathways. Split it, and the results get watered down too. Your brain is largely water, and proper hydration matters for it to function well. Think of it as fueling the engine before you start it. It sounds a little silly, but a relaxed smile before you begin can help set a more receptive mental state for learning. One of the best ways to lock in a new skill is to explain it to another person. Share it with a partner, a friend, a neighbor. Explaining it forces your own brain to organize the information and gives you someone to keep you honest about doing it daily. Over the years, patients have asked me some version of the same handful of questions, so let me answer a few of them here before you get started. Good. Genuinely good. A small stumble means your brain is actually working at the edge of its comfort zone, which is exactly where growth happens. If everything felt effortless and automatic, you wouldn't be building anything new. You'd just be repeating an old, well-worn path. Stumble, breathe, and pick back up. That's the exercise working as intended, not failing. The chair matters more than it might seem. Sitting upright with your feet planted keeps a small amount of postural effort in play, which helps keep your attention anchored in your body instead of drifting. If a chair genuinely isn't possible for you, standing works too. Just keep your spine tall and your feet steady. On its own, no single minute rewires anything permanently. What matters is what 1 minute makes possible, a repeatable habit that's small enough you'll actually keep doing it. A brilliant 5-minute routine you do twice and abandon does far less for you than an unglamorous 1-minute routine you do every single day for months. Consistency beats intensity here, every time. Then you've lost exactly 1 minute a day, and you can always look at other habits: sleep, movement, social connection, learning something new, that also support brain health. But I gently push back on judging results after only a few days. Walter didn't notice anything meaningful until roughly the end of week 1. Give it a fair, honest week before you decide anything. That's the 60-second exercise that helped Walter and many patients like him push back against the mental fog. It isn't magic. It's simple, applied neuroscience, accessible to absolutely anyone in any chair starting today. Your brain has more capacity to recover and adapt than you might give it credit for. Regardless of your age, you have real influence over the stimulation it gets. But none of this works if it just stays information you nod along to. It has to become something you actually do. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just file this away. Commit to trying it for 1 week. 1 minute a day, 7 minutes, total, across the whole week. That's the entire ask. And when the week is up, I'd genuinely like to know how it went. Maybe nothing dramatic happens. Maybe you just notice you felt a little sharper, or a word came to you that usually slips away. That's worth noticing too. We started this conversation talking about the quiet frustration of small memory slips. We pushed back on the myth that losing your memory is simply the price of getting older, and we opened the door to something more hopeful: neuroplasticity and your brain's real capacity to rebuild itself. I shared Walter's story with you, and now you have the same tool he used: 60 seconds to get blood and oxygen moving, and to build new connections along the way. Remember the 3 keys: stay consistent, avoid the common mistakes, and use the small boosters to get more out of every session. The decision from here is yours. You can close this out and carry on exactly as you have been. Or you can find a chair right now and give yourself the first minute of a more mentally active life. Never underestimate what a small, repeated action can do over time. This 1 minute is a kind of quiet declaration, a way of telling yourself, my brain matters and I'm not done taking care of it. I'm Dr. William Lee. Thank you for spending this time with me. Now go take care of that remarkable brain of yours. I'll be looking forward to hearing how it goes.